All right, let's get started. So, what I'm going to tell you about is how I monitor my house plants, and also soon how OP5 will monitor our office plants throughout our offices in the world. It's a great trick to keep everyone involved and together, even though we spread out. But maybe I should start with, why do we want to monitor plants? Well, OP5 really wants to monitor whatever is important to anyone. To me at home, I have some important things. I need to remember my wedding day. That is taking care of my calendar, so that's okay. And then I need to keep those things alive. And until now, I didn't really have a solution, but now I have.
Water.
Yeah, it's a good solution. So, how many of you have a Raspberry Pi? Hands up. All right. So it's a small computer, cost about 400 Swedish crowns. How many have Arduinos? All right, we have a few. To everyone else, let me just disconnect this one. There we go, and you can send this around. It's low voltage, so and if you pull out some of the connections, it's all right. I can wire it back. All right. So about me, just some short information. I work at OP5. I like electronics. I like 3D printing. And I like computer security. That's why I'm board member at OWASP in Gothenburg. So the setup is to the right you see the Arduino and the plant. So that's what we're sending around. The middle is the Raspberry Pi, running something called Domotics, which is an open source home automation system. And I'll show you what it looks like later. And then, like a lot of other things, Domotics has an API. It's JSON based, which makes it really easy to pull out information, and I can do that inside OP5 Monitor. I'm not going to show that part tonight because it's a bit too easy, I think. So we'll keep to the cool stuff. So the hardware that's going around here is a small Arduino MCU. It's a microcontroller. Buying that from China will set you back about $2. It has a battery holder, a radio module. So this is technically not part of the internet because it's not connected to the internet. They don't speak IP because that takes way too much power. One of these can live for about between 1 and 2 years on just 2 AA batteries. So doing that with Wi-Fi would be impossible because it requires too much power. And then we have a sensor. We have some cables and a box, which I didn't bring, but if you want to get acceptance at home, putting this inside a box is really a good idea. Trust me.
What's the range you get on the radio?
It's about the same as regular Wi-Fi, the range. So it depends on how mean your walls are, but yeah, 20 to 50 meters is usually not a problem. I have a larger antenna here, which, according to the specification, gives you 1 kilometer. So we all know that that's usually not what you get, but at least 100 meters. And the total cost if you buy these components from China, and you don't need to buy many, is less than 40 Swedish crowns. So the controller is running on a Raspberry Pi. It also has a radio module, so it can talk to the other sensors. Then you need to connect it to a network or Wi-Fi, which I have done here. You need a USB charger, the regular things, so that will set you back between 550 and 800 crowns. So Domotics has a web interface, it has a JSON API. I'm going to show that. If you would like to add this to OP5 Monitor, if you're running that, or any Nagios based installation, you can use the check.json plugin, and I have the code here for the configuration for how to use it. So this is Domotics. As you can see, two things are red. That's because I live in Gothenburg and the range is not that good. So you can see when I unplugged everything, it was at around 20 minutes to 12 today. But the other two sensors are here. And I think this one is the one that's going around. So we don't have any data yet, because it should have changed now, but it's sending as you are looking at it. So this tree, we can see, if we look at the history, we can see here that apparently it was given some water here on October 4th. It got some water here on October 11th and here on October 26th. Domotics can, and then when I got to Stockholm, I went into a store, bought this fine plant, and of course they had watered it a lot. So you see, that's why it's so high here. Can we get back? So, and the other one. All right, so it also has registered the high humidity of the soil here, and no changes. But if we pour some water on it, wait a while, we'll see if something happens. There's also the possibility to... Also, by the way, if you wonder why it says temperature, is because Domotics expects you to measure humidity and temperature at the same time. Well, I could have, but I don't really care about the temperature in each of my flowers. So, next thing you can do is you can configure notifications if you want inside Domotics. So I'm getting an email. The amount of protocols supported is pretty impressive. The drawback is you don't have any configuration. So if you're used to a real monitoring system, you have flapping control. No, this one sends me messages all the time, even if it just dips down and then goes up again and down. It keeps sending. There's no escalation. It will send on all channels at once, not just maybe one channel first and then one other. But this is not a monitoring system, it's a home automation system, so it's pretty okay. And if you add them in a Nagios based system, then of course you have access to all those nice features. Since I want to keep track of how much power they consume. I also measure the voltage, which is done. I think it measures the battery just after it has sent through the radio, which means that it probably has used some power. So otherwise, if you just measure when it's idle, then you wouldn't get any load. So as you can see here, it slowly goes down. The graph isn't that great, 333. But if we hover here, we can see 3.2 volts and 3.125. So during this time, not much has happened. Right. So about JSON, I don't think I need to tell you how popular it is. The fun thing is that just between I made this presentation and I was on my way here, it had gone up almost 100 new APIs were listed, which is pretty cool. So that's it for me. All the component lists, how you wire this together, and of course the 40 Swedish crowns for ordering this is including shipping, since I think the China government pays for shipping for all experts because they want to keep that alive. So take advantage of it. The presentation is available online. And I'll just see if we got any update here. No, not yet. All right. Any questions?
How many plants can you monitor? Do the radios interfere with each other, or are they smart? Can you set things up so you have many?
Yeah, sending takes, I think, about 3 milliseconds. In my case, every 1 hour. So for them to collide would be, no, it doesn't happen. Another cool thing with these are that they can relay messages. You need to have them powered on to relay, of course. But if you have some sensors that can get constant power, you can configure them as relay nodes, so they can help getting the packages. You kind of get a mesh network, which is pretty cool. And also, there is a limit on 255 sensors in one network, but you can have, I think, about 100 networks alive at the same time on different frequencies. So for most things, I don't think you would hit that limit.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.